everyone. Maitreya Wolf here with the Art of Soulful Living vlog. Thank you for joining me. I pray you are well nourished by our time here today. Today we're going to dive in and explore the art of initiation. As a context for this, I understand the time that we're in as an initiatory process. And this is an initiation through the dark night of the soul. It is an initiation through descent to the underworld. And this initiation comes to us through the lens of a meeting with death. So there's no simple way to frame everything that's happening right now. One of the bigger frames that I hold around that is like that initiation is for us as a species. Humanity is a very infantile species at this point, and especially in this particular time, we are extraordinarily infantile and vulgar in the deepest sense of the word, which is not to say there isn't beauty and magnificence and profundity and incredible wisdom alive in people and alive in the world, but that, at kind of the biggest picture level, we are in a state of extraordinary vulgarity as a collective. And then I nest that actually inside of an even bigger picture of realizing that I believe my experience, my experience in communion with spirit, and my experience on a visceral level and on an intuitive level, is that Gaia herself, Gaia being an ancient name for Earth, Mother Earth, the goddess of the earth, the goddess that the earth is, Gaia herself is in an extraordinary transition from one frequency realm to another, finer frequency realm. So she's going from one state to another. And because we are a part of Gaia, we are going from one state to another. And this is just about as difficult as could be, because everything is being called up at once. The entire fundamental structure of our world on a physical level is being rattled to its bones. And the foundation of our entire modality as life forms here on the planet is simultaneously being in a state of extraordinary reckoning. And we don't at this point have the option to bow out of the transformation that is happening through us and to us. We have entered into the initiation. It's not something we're approaching. It's not something conceptual. It's something we are sitting inside of as a collective right now. And the bitch of that is that we do not have that consciousness to meet the magnitude of this moment with. Society at this point is, like I said before, extremely vulgar. People are a mess. A mess. And Western society in particular has built itself, capitalistic society, the capitalistic industrial complex has built itself on the death of integration between humanity and the earth and between humanity and life. Capitalism only thrives in the absence of integration with life and earth. Because capitalism is fundamentally exploitative. Capitalism is a system that rapes and pillages things into dust for short-term gain. And people can only participate in that as blindly and devotedly as we do if they are fundamentally severed from their inherent connection to self, other, the divine, the earth, and life. That's how it works. That's why colonizing societies destroy indigenous cultures. Is because indigenous cultures, and I'm not saying they're perfect, I'm not glorifying the indigene, just set that aside. I'm just saying that indigenous cultures of all kinds are in communion with the earth, and they base the modalities of their lives on that relationship. A relationship that reveres and respects life. That is antithetical to capitalism. That is antithetical to Western society. So Western society, what we are sitting inside of right now, what is imploding all around us right now, is built on the annihilation of that relationship with life, earth, self, other, and the divine. But life has brought us here. You know, what time it is on the cosmic level is for, you know, Earth Mama is going through her transition. She's like, okay, I'm coming into a greater refinement of my own life and expression, and y'all bitches are coming with me, whether you want to or not. And we're all like, wow! None of us are ready for that. None of us realize we're on this roller coaster, so we're not strapped in, and we're not ready. And currently we're just like flying out of the roller coaster and puking all over ourselves, and it's a fucking disaster. And I personally seeing it getting a lot worse before it gets better, because right now it's summer in the northern hemisphere. People can go out, they can play, restaurants have found ways to stay open, you know, people can go out for dinner, whatever, you know, you can go outside, you can be yourself. But once winter hits and you can't do that anymore, then it's another story. And now there's this whole shit show. I don't know if you've heard about what's happening in Victoria, Australia, but they've gone into a completely authoritarian lockdown. Government checkpoints, papers please. You're allowed out of your house 1 hour a day. You have to go through checkpoints to get wherever you're going. If you're caught, like, there are door-to-door agents tracking to see who's in the home and who's not, and if they're not there, where are they? And if they're in it, wherever they are, they go and they find them and they bring them back. And if they have to do that, then you get a fine. And that's fucking crazy shit. And there it is. That's happening. That means that's possible that it will happen anywhere. So these things are being set up, and they are going to close around us more fully as time goes on. And I don't want to get into any, you know, political exploration of like what that means or how to deal with it or blah, 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 because that's endless and that's not my jam. What I'm saying is that this is going to get more intense. And just like an initiation, initiations are by design. Experiences that are beyond someone's known capacity for effective response. They are by design beyond your beyond your capacity, beyond what you know to be your ability to respond and engage. But the magic of them, what they are actually meant to do, is to draw forth the ability to respond to the pressure that you are put under in the initiation. I underwent life itself initiated me. I'm an American woman. There's no initiation in my culture. This is not a culture, excuse me. There's no initiation in my society. But I entered into an initiatory process orchestrated by life itself that lasted 13 years and transformed me. It took me from one state of being to another. It didn't do it for me. That's not what I mean. But the territory of the transition was this ongoing ordeal that consistently demanded a greater level of maturity, capacity, integrity, wisdom, beauty, compassion, patience, refinement. And it lasted for 13 years. It started with long drawn out drama that culminated in a concise trauma that destroyed my body and essentially was the implosion of my life as I knew it at that time. And then there was a state of exile. And then there was this reintegration process. There was a liminal reintegration process wherein I have been consistently refining who I am as a human being and what I am as a soul on its evolutionary journey through the phenomenon of delineated, embodied existence. And I see what we are sitting inside of now as something very similar to that long drawn out drama that began my initiation. The pandemic is, to me, a corollary to that personal experience of mine in the past. And my experience began approaching my Saturn return. Saturn is a planet of reckoning. It's a planet of limits and accountability. And I see that we're in that same phase and process and state as a collective now. And I did not, at the onset of my initiation, I did not have the consciousness to understand it. I was in the ballpark of that consciousness. I was in the ballpark of that consciousness. But when it began, I didn't have that framework for it. I didn't have that framework until a few years later when I realized that the hits just kept on coming. There was just like hit after hit after hit after hit. And I eventually realized that I am in the territory of transformation. And the power that I have right now is in how I respond. There is so frequently so little that can be done in regards to the circumstances around us. You know, and I don't mean that to say that we're not powerful. I mean that to say, like, life is this enormous unfolding symphony of events and circumstances and experiences and components, and we are just one thing. And any individual is just one thing inside of it. And the greatest power that we have is in how we relate to and respond to our circumstances, our experiences. And in the territory of initiation, one of the most important things to cultivate is the capacity to stay grounded no matter what shit gets thrown at you, so that you can actually access your deeper wisdom, your deeper integrity, and your deeper refinement, regardless of the ridiculousness, the severity, the danger, or the banality of the circumstances or the experience that you find yourself inside of. That in and of itself, being able to access that groundedness and that space of spaciousness inside of pressure makes an opportunity for new magic to arise. Transformative magic. It gives unknown things, unknown medicines, and unknown capacities, unknown powers, unknown intelligences and wisdoms the opportunity to arise in response to the pressure that one finds oneself in at any given moment. So that is a fundamental skill for navigating this initiation well, and also for cultivating longevity, for what I can feel may be the long ride of this. This could take some time. This could take some time. You know, the Earth Mama, she's changing. And that means society and civilization is going to change. We are changing along with her. But for the most part, people are completely attached to what they know. And what we know is a world that is unequal on so many levels, is devastating on so many levels, is devastated on so many levels. We live in a world of extreme imbalance and violence and insanity, normalized insanity. And all of that, from the energetic level of our consciousness to the fundamental structures of our daily lives on a physical level, all of that has been called up for transformation at once. It's everything at once. And any one component would be huge to deal with. The reality of the state of the planet. That is like, on a physical level, that is the big picture. The reality of the state of the planet. The 6 mass extinction of species and the collapse of the biosphere all around the world. That is the backdrop to our entire theater of chaos in the human realm right now. And the theater of chaos is so loud that the reality of the situation and the status of the planet has been pushed way to the back. But that's there. That's just there. That is still happening. The 6th mass extinction of species is still happening. The collapse of the biosphere is still happening. And that's going to bring forth its own problems in the next, as time goes on. You know, so the pressure is just going to keep building. And we have to cultivate the capacity to respond instead of react, so that our wisdom has the opportunity to engage with the moment, and not just our instincts and survival fears and trauma bodies and all the other things. So take this with you right now. Meditation is one of the most important tools for living in a world as bedeviled by speed and volume as this one is. We are bombarded by haste and by intensity all the time. And then if we engage with media and social media beyond that, we are doubly, triply, quadruply bombarded. There's enormous social and societal pressure to move at an unnaturally fast pace without resting ever. There's this obsessive neurosis around productivity at all costs, at all times. And in that reality, the pause of meditation is not only a salvation and a refuge, but it's also a fundamental subversion on an energetic level of the entire program of society. Not only that, it creates for us access to that capacity to pause inside of pressure, so that our wisdom can emerge and respond, and not our reactivity. So the foundation of meditation is that you sit either cross-legged on a cushion on the floor, or on the edge of a chair with your feet on the floor and your spine straight. You close your eyes, you turn your attention inward, you lengthen your breath, which means you breathe into your belly. Most people are breathing into their chest like, but you actually breathe into your belly. So expand your belly when you inhale. And you just stay there. Start with 5 minutes. And don't sweat it. Your mind will flip out. You'll get quiet all of a sudden and you'll think like, this is never going to work. My mind is just a screaming chaos of monkeys and madness. And that's what's actually there. And most of the time you're just avoiding and distracting yourself from that. So just let it be there. That's okay. Don't try to stop that. That is like the first failure in meditation, is that people try to stop their mind from its insanity when you can't. I don't think you can. Like the brain literally is an electrical process where like it's just lightning all the time. And essentially what you do with the breathing is you start to soften that electrical process through the whole body. And eventually the thoughts soften. But that's like down the path. In the beginning, the basic thing is just sit, close your eyes, deepen your breath into your belly, and just stay there with your breathing. Notice the breath coming in, notice the breath coming out. When you realize that you've drifted and you're over here and you're like a mile down the path of the story of what happened yesterday with your roommate and what you're going to say to him about whatever you did and blah, 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 just say, oh, I'm thinking, and let that thing go and bring your awareness back to your breath. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. When I first started meditating, I got tired every time I started to breathe, and I realized that was because I was so used to being in fight or flight from living on coffee and sugar and just being like a generally super intense person, um, that when I came into a parasympathetic nervous system response, I I just wanted to go to sleep. I needed rest, and that was fine, you know. But the point being that it took some years actually to cultivate the capacity to meditate. But now that I have it, and I'm continuing to cultivate that capacity, now that I have it, I have the ability to pause inside of situations of extreme pressure and respond with wisdom instead of react with whatever high intensity emotion that pressure stimulates in me. So start meditating. That's thing one. Start cultivating inner spaciousness and quiet as a refuge from the increasing haste, pressure, intensity, and volume of the world around us. Because we are going to need that. Because this is not going to let up anytime soon. And part of the magic of the pandemic, and I hate the pandemic, don't get me wrong, I hate it. I call bullshit on the whole thing. It's a fucking farce. The virus is real, but the way it's being handled is fucking bullshit, and it's an effort to destroy the world, and I make no bones about that. And that being said, this is the reality that we're sitting inside of. So what are the gifts? What are the hidden treasures? What is the magic or the medicine of this that would not have arisen otherwise? And the first one is a diminishment of habituated distraction as a way of life. Because we can't do so many things that we've always done to avoid ourselves and to avoid the pain of living in the world as it is. And now that's not possible. And that is an incredible, incredible gift. That is an incredible opportunity for waking up and transforming our experience here. We have an opportunity to take this world from one that is built on and sustained by violence of every kind into an experience of beauty. This is the path I see. Other people see other things. This is what I see. I want this world of beauty. I want it for me. I want it for you. I want it for life. I want this world of beauty. And one of the fundamental ways to reach it is to create an inner spaciousness that will allow our innate wisdom to respond to the pressures of the times. So meditate. And if still meditation doesn't work for you, moving meditation is another possibility. You can do that same process of breath and presence while you're walking slowly. So, you go on your walk, people go on their exercise walks and they're on the phone and they're listening to whatever, or they're just looking at the ground and counting kilometers or whatever they're doing, No phone, no headphones, no podcast, no news, no music, no nothing. If you're walking with a friend, don't chat about things that are elsewhere. Be where you are, breathing deeply, present with the whole of your being, making that space within yourself so that your wisdom can breathe and emerge. So that's what I got for you today, my friends. Thank you for listening. My name is Maitreya Wolf. This is the Art of Soulful Living vlog. I pray that you are well nourished by our time together. If you want to talk about healing work or counseling work or anything else that I do, please be in touch. I'm a professional musician and a professional speaker. So please be in touch if you want to book me for an event or if you want to work together in session work. I would love to hear from you. Check out my website, mytreawolf.com. Check out my podcast at anchor.fm/The Art of Soulful Living. And all my contact information is in the next frame. So many blessings to you. We'll get there.